1950s ushered in the advent of the steel pan as a welcomed addition to our musical tradition, which by all accounts went on to achieve a high standard of excellence comparable to, and some have ventured to say, even beyond that of Trinidad, the land of the steel pan.
Well, like the steel pan was on top. The steel pan was on top those times. When you have dances with steel pan and brass bands, those brass bands and so on, they have to play first and get out of the place, get out of the thing, and the steel pan finish the dance and so on. We were on top, until up to 1972, steel pan was there, on top. Until we get into 73, when these brass bands and so on started amplifying their instrument, bringing these speakers out front. Before, the guitarist will be here playing and he has a little amp here, and then the bass man has his little amp. Everybody has their own little amp and so on. But then when they started bringing those instruments out front, those big speakers and big amplification and so on, volume, and of course the new generation, they go for the noise. So that is where it started shifting. It's all in the way you arrange the music and the way you distribute the chords. It's very important now. Each chord have at least 3 notes. There's no chord with 2 notes. And I've seen some Trinidad bands here playing. If you have 20 people playing, let's say, double second then. And all 20 of them are playing the same 2 notes. So there's a note missing in the chord, and that could be very empty. You can have 10 people playing, let's say, for example, a C chord. You have 10 people playing a C chord, and everybody playing C and E. No, let's put it, 10 people playing a C chord. Some playing C and E, some playing C and G, some playing E and G. You mix the chord. And then you have 25 people just playing 2 of those notes, and the 10 people sound 3 times as heavy as the 25 people.
I've got it.
So it's the way you arrange your music, the way you distribute the chords to the different instruments and so on.
In 57, I'll tell you the difference in this. In 1957, the standard of music played by steel bands in St. Kitts surpassed Trinidad. We didn't have the instruments, the tonal quality of the instruments we did not have. So that, always and things like that. I say that because I did a reel-to-reel of a lot of the music that we did. Because I remember I had to borrow the tape recorder from Dr. Masada. And I did a reel-to-reel. This was in 1957. I am sure of the date because I went to England in December 1957 and I took the tape to England with me. And, I did that. So some years later, when we brought in a Trinidadian Pantuna, by that time we had changed sponsorships and we were being sponsored by Coca-Cola. And he was working in my yard. And I said to him, I have some music here I want you to listen to here. So I played him some of the music from that tape. He said, when you said you did that tape? I said 1957. He said, no, impossible. No, not 1957. I said, well, I carried that tape to England with me in 1957, 58. I said, as a matter of fact, media guy, a BBC guy, actually stamped me some music off it because I had two 78 records cut with some of the music. And this guy borrowed the records from me, promising all kind of promotions for the band, and that's the end of the story, of course. I wasn't in England for too long, so I didn't have the time to follow him up. So I was only over there for 6 months.
So you never got back the record?
No, but at any rate I had my tape. And when Leroy Williams is the name of this pan tuner, Leroy said, well, if that music was recorded in 1957, well, I have to say that you all were ahead of Trinidad. Because by that time, they had just started, putting the classics on the steel band and all the rest of it.
When I was in Curacao, I met guys from the Windward Island making and tuning pans, and I went to see what they were doing. And one guy, I said to him, that note can go up a little bit higher, and he gave me some filthy words and telling me to shut up and so forth. And I didn't fire back at him. I could have done it too, because I know a lot of filthy words in those days. But he don't know what he taught me then, because he taught me how to tune a pan. And on my way back to St. Kitts, there was the Wilberforce steel band in the making, and Lord Croft, he was trying to help them out in making pans, and we had some pans boss like dumpling in it and so on that they were making the notes from and so forth. And I realized that the boss, the way they wasn't properly done to create the sound and get resonance going from them. And then I choose to mark it from a pattern that I've seen in Curacao, and one that was here from the brute force, I think, which was originally a Cats and Jammers pan. They went this way, which is most of the pans now is going from this way, going that way. But I made mine going that way.
So you're saying they went clockwise or anti-clockwise?
They went anti-clockwise, and I made mine clockwise. And I did fairly well in creating instruments for the first, because I went and I had a bit of chance to create the pans with the band that was called Devil Dodgers. I gave it the name Devil Dodgers, and we did fairly well. And the band that was created after that, so there was Boss Wilberforce, Devil Dodgers, the band from Newtown, Invaders. Invaders came up the gut under the cup tree, and they wanted a pattern, and I told them to bring a cement paper. So they opened out a cement paper. They got a cement paper, and they took the pattern from the pan in Devil Dodgers, went up to Newtown, and made the first pan for themselves up there.